What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the Beat of KC. Before we dive in and start talking about NFL Week 1, because I know so many people are excited that the NFL is back. It's back, ladies and gentlemen. The kickoff is tonight. Holy smokes. Thursday night football. We're back. But before we dive in, I ask that you guys smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, comment down below because I know there's going to be some comments in this comment section. I appreciate the support, ladies and gentlemen. This has been incredible. The goal is to get to 5,000 subscribers, and I can't do it without you guys. It means so much. It does so much for the channel. It shows that you guys are committed to help supporting this channel, and it truly, truly means a lot. So let's dive in and start talking about Week 1. Thursday night, great matchup. The Dallas Cowboys versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to go ahead and share the screen. My face might disappear for a little bit. That way you guys can see everything that I'm going to be talking about. This is going to be through ESPN. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up and make it big screen. There you go. So we are looking at the Dallas Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It is going to kick off at 7:20 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is going to be in Raymond James Stadium. That is in Tampa. So honestly, a home game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's going to be interesting to see how this game really shapes up. Tom Brady coming back again. That lethal offense. Really a great defense as well. If you go through the depth chart, ladies and gentlemen, of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, holy smokes, what an incredible, incredible defense. And that's coming from a Kansas City Chiefs fan. They had a great showing in the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line was definitely battered and beaten up, but they win the Super Bowl, and they're coming back as the defending Super Bowl champions. Dak Prescott is returning. Ezekiel Elliott looks to be in better shape. Is Amari Cooper going to show out? CeeDee Lamb coming back. Michael Gallup and really kind of that defense. Mike McCarthy's going to have to definitely have a great game plan coming into this game. I'm going to go ahead and say that Tampa Bay wins. I'm not going to actually predict scores because I think that would get a little bit crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Tampa Bay as the winner. And as this goes through, I'm going to do this every week. I'm going to try to keep record of my correct and incorrect which ones, and see what my record is by the end of the year and see how good I actually am at predicting who wins and who loses. So I am going to go with Tampa Bay just because of I think that they are going to be ready to roll, and especially going to be in Tampa. It's going to be a good game, though, and excited that football's back on. Fantasy football, ladies and gentlemen, get your fantasy football teams wrapped up before tonight. Then we're starting off Sunday, September 12th. The first game on the slate, according to ESPN.com, is going to be Philadelphia at Atlanta. That is a noon game. It is going to be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. That nice, amazing, brand new stadium there in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. It's tough for me. I really do enjoy Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to be a great quarterback. They go out and get Devonta Smith. They got Jalen Reagor. They got some decent veteran tight ends now in Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. An aging offensive line. But it's going to be interesting to see. Miles Sanders is a running back there in Philly. But, Julio Jones is no longer with Atlanta. They do go draft Michael Pitts. And they got a very, very good quarterback in Matt Ryan. And Mike Davis coming over from the Panthers. There really is just a lot of things that the Atlanta Falcons have that I think they may have a hand up on the Philadelphia Eagles. I think for the first true game of Jalen Hurts, knowing he's the starter, I think it's still going to be tough going into that environment. And I'm going to go ahead and pick the Atlanta Falcons in this first game. It's tough for me. If I'm wrong, then I'm okay with that because I would like to see the Philadelphia Eagles actually do well in the NFC East this year. But I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons in that one. Now the next game is a absolute banger of a football game. Pittsburgh at Buffalo in Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how the Buffalo Bills fan base is. It's no Kansas City Chiefs, but it's second to none. And it's going to be a tough game for those Pittsburgh Steelers. They do have a very good offense. The question marks are going to be around Ben Roethlisberger. Is he going to be able to stay on top of it and continue to hit targets like Juju and Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool and their new shiny running back in Najee Harris. Question marks again are around that offensive line. Are they going to have a decent offensive line with a lot of guys departing, whether it's through retirement or free agency? So really a lot of question marks there. The defense is still that defense. TJ Watt flying off the edge. They do have a tremendous secondary there, so it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out. Buffalo, I mean, Josh Allen, ladies and gentlemen, they definitely have two good running backs in Singletary and Moss. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley. I mean, they have a tremendous, tremendous offense there in Buffalo, and it's going to be interesting to see. They do go out and get Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders replaces John Brown, and it'll be interesting to see how Emmanuel Sanders plugs into that offense and how they continue to roll. I am going to go Buffalo in that game, I think, with that stadium rocking, fans back, full capacity. I think that's going to be tough for Pittsburgh, and I think Pittsburgh starts 0-1 this year. Next game up is going to be Minnesota at Cincinnati, Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. I kind of like what Cincinnati's got developing there. I think Cincinnati really has a young, youthful offense. I mean, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and obviously Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon in the backfield. So really kind of a lot going on the offense. The question marks are going to be the offensive line. And that defense, I think, is getting a little bit better. They go out and plug in a decent amount of veterans. But then you got the Minnesota Vikings on the other side, and that's a lethal offense just as well. Dalvin Cook, and then Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. Irv Smith goes on, I think, the IR. I think he ended up having to have surgery and is out for a little bit. So going to be some question marks there as far as what they got at tight end. But I really like what they have. The defense is definitely going to be that defense that we're used to in Minnesota. So I expect the Minnesota Vikings to come out on that one. San Francisco at Detroit, I think that one's pretty easy. Some of these I'll speed up through just because some of them are going to be pretty easy. I don't know what they got going on in Detroit. I really don't. It's just going to be interesting to see what they end up doing at the end of this year. San Francisco's definitely winning this one. I think that it's going to be a good warm-up game, even though it's at Ford Field in Detroit. San Francisco has a tremendous defense, still a very good front seven. Raheem Mostert and Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and really that offensive line there in San Francisco on the offense. Jimmy Garoppolo is probably going to lead the way because Trey Lance is still having some finger issues. So I do expect San Francisco to pull this one out. Arizona at Tennessee. This is a matchup that I think is incredible. I think Arizona has every opportunity to win the NFC West this year. Their team is absolutely stacked on paper. Again, I'm going to repeat that, stacked on paper. They have to perform. And then you have the Tennessee Titans. Again, stacked on paper, have to show out and show that they are capable of doing it. That Tennessee offense is absolutely lethal. It's just going to come down to can they really kind of split to running Derrick Henry versus throwing the football and having game plans for their opponents. And that's what's going to be interesting. I think they have a tremendous coach in Mike Vrabel that can handle that. It's just going to be very interesting. And then on the other side, Arizona, incredible offense with Kyler Murray. I mean, they go out, they got Nuke and DeAndre Hopkins. Christian Kirk's still there. They go get AJ Green. They do some very good things. They go sign James Conner to pair with Chase Edmonds. Offensive line is still pretty solid in Arizona. They go get Rodney Hudson from the Raiders. So they are going to have a pretty solid team. They are just going to have to perform, and that's going to be the thing. I am actually going to go out and say that it is in Nissan Stadium. That is in Nashville, Tennessee. That is a home game for the Tennessee Titans. I am actually going to go out and say that the Arizona Cardinals will win in Tennessee. I think that Arizona has a tremendous offense, and I think that they have enough on the defensive side of the football. Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt, Isaiah Simmons, Budda Baker, and really the biggest question marks are their corners going to be able to help and hold down guys like A.J. Brown, Josh Reynolds, and of course the newly acquired Julio Jones. So, but I'm going to go out and say that Arizona wins in Tennessee. I guess you can almost say that's an upset. Seattle at Indianapolis, I'm going to go. Ooh, that's tough because Seattle's defense isn't the Legion of Doom anymore. This game is actually in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Carson Wentz hopefully can start week 1. Jonathan Taylor, ground and pound machine with Naheem Hines and really a decent offensive line there. They steal one of our guys in Eric Fisher. I wish him the best. It's just going to be interesting to see how the Indianapolis Colts can handle Seattle. I think Seattle, depth-wise, outside of obviously the insanity of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, what they're capable of doing with Russ. But that offensive line didn't get any better. And that defense there in Indy is pretty solid. I'm actually going to say that the Colts upset the Seattle Seahawks. I think that if Carson Wentz is average and can, get them ahead, I think that there's a chance they put pressure on Russ and DK and Tyler Lockett and Chris Carson to really perform. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there's an upset. And I think Indianapolis can do that with it being, if it was vice versa and they were in Seattle, I think there's being a home opener, I definitely no question would say Seattle. But with it being an Indy first game out, I think there's a lot of kinks that these teams are going to work out. So I'm going to go with Indianapolis. The Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers at Washington. This could be a sleeper game for the Chargers. First one, I think it's hard to say a sleeper game out the gate of week 1, but Washington has some things going. I just don't think they're quite there yet. And I think Los Angeles obviously has a tremendous young quarterback in Justin Herbert. Keenan Allen is a machine. And then Austin Eckler. Offensive line is okay. And, that defense, if this defense is fully healthy, they are going to be an insane defense. But we'll have to see. I do think Los Angeles does squeak this one out, even though it's in FedEx Field in Landover. I do think that they end up beating the Washington football team. I just think that that's going to happen on that one. New York Jets at Carolina. This is a game, and low-key, ladies and gentlemen, I would be beyond excited about this game. And the reason is, and this one you guys may skip over, but I'm just super excited about what Zach Wilson is going to be able to provide the New York Jets. Robert Saleh is the new head coach. I think he brings such a fire and a passion for the game of football. And I think that you might start to see the New York Jets turn it around this year. I truly believe that. Not saying that they're going to go out and win the division. I'm not saying that they're going to go out and do some crazy records or anything, but I do think you start to see them turn the corner this year. They finally get the quarterback, and they're facing their old quarterback that they drafted recently in Sam Darnold there at Carolina. The biggest thing for New York is they still need some pieces on that defense. I think that they've definitely revamped that offensive line. They drafted Elijah Vera Tucker this year out of USC. They go out and get some good receiver. And they're doing some things. It's question marks maybe around the running back, what they're going to do, who's going to start, and who's going to get most of the carries or even the catches. They got Tevin Coleman. But it'll be interesting to see. Carolina on the other side, great defense. Brian Burns. They have some of the most tremendous. Jeremy Chin, ladies and gentlemen. That's all you need to say on that defensive side of the ball. They do go out and get Joe Horn's son, plug him in there. They drafted him this year. So Carolina has some things going for them on the defensive side of the football. But ladies and gentlemen, let's just say it's C-Mac. Christian McCaffrey is coming back from basically a full season injury. He's going to be hungry. He's going to be ready to roll. C-Mac is going to eat. And I'm going to go ahead and say that the Carolina Panthers pull this one out. I think it could be a close game because I do think Zach Wilson is going to ball out. I really do. I think he's going to have a tremendous showing for his first full NFL game. Live action, everything like that. I think, Zach Wilson will ball out. But I think Sam Darnold has that experience. And so I think that the Carolina Panthers pull that one out. It is in Bank of America Stadium at Charlotte, so it'll be a home game for the Panthers. Jacksonville at Houston. The only reason I would watch this game is just to see how Trevor Lawrence performs. It is just a nightmare what they got going on in Houston. And that's no issue to the fans. It's an unfortunate circumstances. So it's going to be tough. I do think Jacksonville squeaks this one out. Tyrod Taylor is taking over at the quarterback position. They still have Brandon Cooks. There's just a lot of question marks on the defense. I think that, if Trevor Lawrence can string some drives together and charge them down the field, I think that they will have a very, very good chance at winning this football game. I'm going to go ahead, and even though it's in Houston, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cleveland at Kansas City. If you guys haven't had a chance, go check out my week 1 matchup. I did do a breakdown of the week 1 matchup, Cleveland at Kansas City. I did actually pick Kansas City. I think that this is going to be a very, very good football game. It is at 3:25 p.m. This is the first afternoon game of the slate. It is in Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. I do believe the Kansas City Chiefs pull this one out. And my score prediction on this one was 32-28. I think it's going to be a great, great football game. And so make sure you guys are tuning in. That stadium might set a new world record, Guinness World Record for loudest. I'm telling you, it is going to be an incredible environment. Looking forward to that. And another great football game. Ladies and gentlemen, they really set us up beautifully this week. The Miami Dolphins are going to be at the New England Patriots. We're going to see Mac Jones take over at home. They go ahead and give the boot to Cam Newton, and they're letting Mac Jones run it. It's going to be in Gillette Stadium, Foxborough. I mean, that place is going to be probably off the charts with their new quarterback. Miami coming in. There's some history there with their head coach being a former Patriot coach. Tua, is he going to be able to perform this year? They got Myles Gaskin running the football. Is he actually going to be able to step up and be that guy that they're looking for? Their receiver position is just tremendous in Miami. And then they got Mike Gesicki. The defense is solid. So it could be a truly good football game. It might come down to Mac Jones and how he handles that. But you got to remember, the New England Patriots are getting a lot of their players back from the pandemic year, the ones that opted out. They are missing Stephon Gilmore. He's on the IR, but they have a tremendous defense. I mean, they really do. J.C. Jackson is a great corner. And then, they're just going to do some good things on that defense. So that's a great football game. And it might come down to, the final drive. Green Bay at New Orleans. Another 3:25. This is going to be in Jacksonville due to the hurricane. This was supposed to be a home game for the New Orleans Saints. I think that is going to be just a little bit of an issue because New Orleans can get rocking. They know how to party down there. But it's got moved obviously due to the issues with the hurricane. So not that home field advantage anymore. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers coming in, definitely got something to prove, especially after the offseason. And everything that went on with that. He's getting a target back in Randall Cobb. Aaron Jones re-signs and is ready to roll. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, Davante Adams. Do you need to say anything else? Davante Adams. A lot of question marks in New Orleans. New quarterback, Jameis Winston. We saw what he was capable of doing when he was with Tampa. He had an incredible amount of touchdowns, but he also found the other team quite a bit. So can he limit the mistakes, quit throwing to the other team, and maybe lead the charge? This is going to be a good football game. I'm going to go Green Bay just because of the veteran leadership. Aaron Rodgers has something to prove. But, Alvin Kamara and, what they got going there, I think is just going to be a pretty good situation. But because it's no longer a home field advantage and, Aaron Rodgers has something to prove, I'm going to go Green Bay over the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Denver Broncos are at New York Giants. That's going to be in MetLife Stadium. I'm just going to be real with you guys. I think the Giants could win the NFC East this year. Originally I said Philadelphia. The two teams that I'm watching are going to be the Giants and the Eagles. I just don't think the Cowboys always have enough to click. And I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Mike McCarthy. The Giants, had a crazy offseason as well. Their coach is taking it back old school and yelling at the players. But I think that they come together. Saquon Barkley's coming back. They go trade for Kenny Golladay, or they sign Kenny Golladay. They still got Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, and Saquon Barkley, ladies and gentlemen. And Saquon Barkley's coming back. So the question marks around them are their offensive line. The defense is definitely revamped. But they also go get Kyle Rudolph to plug in at the tight end position as well. So that's something to pay attention to. But the defense is getting better and better. They have one of the best tacklers in all of the NFL in Blake Martinez. And I just really like what that defense is starting to assemble there. And I think it's a good a good warm-up game against the Denver Broncos, and Teddy Bridgewater, Cortland Sutton's coming back, Melvin Gordon's obviously running the football. Their offensive line's getting a little bit better. That defense for Denver could be lethal, and they could put a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones. So it'll be interesting. I am going to go New York Giants. The Sunday night slate, the Chicago Bears against the Los Angeles Rams. This is in LA. I'm going to say it right out the gate. I'm going to go ahead and go Los Angeles Rams. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure put on Andy Dalton. I think that he has to perform. There is so much pressure because of Justin Fields sitting behind him. Everybody in the stands, everyone in Chicago wants Justin Fields on that field. And so I think there's going to be a lot of pressure. And if Dalton loses his first game, I think that the Boo Birds start to come out pretty quickly and want Fields on the field. Big fan of Allen Robinson. Big fan of David Montgomery. I like what they have there in Chicago on the offensive side of the football. I think that they really do have some pieces that they're starting to plug in. I think Fields would fit very well, but unfortunately, the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, is going to be taking the charge. The Rams, on the other hand, go out and trade for Matt Stafford, ladies and gentlemen. And with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee, that offensive line being okay, the biggest question mark is every running back that has touched the field for the Los Angeles Rams seems to get hurt. So they had to go out and actually trade for Sony Michel. Darrell Henderson found a way to stay somewhat healthy and is going to be a good feature to Sony Michel. I think your ground and pound is going to come from Sony Michel, and your air raid and your quick, to try to chunk up the yards the most will be Darrell Henderson. So that is going to be the Sunday night football game. And I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, pick the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Monday night game is Baltimore Ravens at the Las Vegas Raiders. And, man, what John Gruden has going there in Las Vegas, I could not tell you. I predict them to finish last in the AFC West. Derek Carr can't seem to figure it out, it seems like. Josh Jacobs now is paired with Kenyon Drake. They have some okay receivers. They have one of the best tight ends behind Travis Kelce and Darren Waller. I think he's easily number 2. But it's going to be interesting. Is Edwards going to be able to step up? And there's just a lot of question marks really kind of going into that. I like what they've done from a linebacker perspective. They go out and trade for Denzel Perryman. They signed KJ Wright. They got some guys on that defense that like to smack people in the mouth and they like to tackle at times. But a lot of the question marks is going to be that secondary, and are they going to be able to apply pressure? Baltimore, obviously in Lamar Jackson, running the football, they lose basically every running back that they were hoping for except for Gus Edwards. They go sign Le'Veon Bell, but he's on the practice squad. Rashad Bateman, who they drafted, is on the IR with a groin injury, had to have surgery. Sammy Watkins may not be fully healthy, so they might be relying on Hollywood Brown a little bit more and Mark Andrews. So it's going to be interesting, but that defense, I envision, will gobble up Derek Carr and every plan that they have in place. I mean, they have a pretty solid defense year in and year out, and my guy Patrick Queen is going to just annihilate people. Patrick Queen is a monster. I'm a huge fan of Patrick Queen. So, but that is the week. So we'll recap real quick before we hit the end button. I'm going to go ahead and say I went Tampa Bay. I picked Atlanta. I picked Buffalo. I picked Minnesota. Picked San Francisco, Arizona, Indianapolis, Los Angeles, Carolina. I did pick Jacksonville. Picked the Chiefs. Who did I pick between Miami and New England? I think I picked New England, I believe. And then Green Bay, the Giants, and the Rams. And to wrap it out, Baltimore. If I did switch, I'll go back, but I'll make sure I watch this video, recap it, and make sure I get the correct thing. But appreciate you guys. Hit me up in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think about my predictions and what you guys think moving forward into the season. Ladies and gentlemen, football is back. I appreciate you checking out the Beat of KC. And as always, have a good day.